All right, we're back for part 3, I guess. I don't know. This is so weird.
Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3.
I really don't understand why we're having this issue here. Hopefully we can.
It's the Brad curse.
And we are live right now, right?
Brad Tallahassee curse. We are live.
Yeah, so bizarre. It really doesn't make any sense.
Well, you were asking me about the DNR and
Yeah.
Hawaii. Well, you know, it's kind of like anywhere, and they probably all hate their DNR and stuff like that. But I was on a forum that I'm in, and I was trying to figure out if I wanted to bring my muzzle loader out there, which would be super fun. And they have really weird gun laws where you got to check in with the police when you get there. I would imagine. Which whatever, doesn't matter. But even a muzzle loader, it's like it's not even a firearm technically. Like,
Right.
Then I'm like, well, you can't fly with primers, and and you can get powder pretty easy. But every place I called had no primers, which I've got issues with primers this year that we can talk about.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
So, and then one guy's like, yeah, just come on over to my house. I'll set some out for you. So I was like, well, I could do that. And then he's telling me, he's like, and don't even worry about checking in your gun at the police. He says, if what's his name comes up to you, go tell him to get, effed. I'm like, how about I don't tell the law enforcement guy to get effed?
Right, you're not a local.
I know. And but I think I'm gonna try to fly my muzzle loader out there next year. My buddy Nick takes his out, no problem, and and you meet some good people out there. Like I've met a few guys just hunting out there, and we became
that you
friends,
ran into,
talked to on
or
social, and
Sure. Nice.
and those guys, man, they're hunters, they're fishers, man. They live off the land out there a lot. It's pretty cool.
And so you only been meeting locals out there. You haven't been running into other people like.
There was some, usually every trip I take, there's another guy or a couple guys that are from who knows where. Like a few years before, this one guy was from Canada, and
Nice.
he was cool. And but it's mostly just the locals that are hunting out there every now and then. Because I think a lot of people that go there, they're spending money and they're just flying to like a ranch to shoot them.
Oh, sure.
And I mean,
And you're doing a DIY.
You're spending Ubers of money to do that. So
That's awesome. Can you pull those pictures up again real quick, Drew?
So I think they say like a 30-inch access buck is kind of like a trophy anywhere you'd go to shoot them, 30 or plus. And I'll be 100% honest that the one side on there is like an inch longer, and it was 29 7/8. But who knows? I call it a 30-incher.
Yeah. Beautiful buck.
So.
And then did you pack the meat back then too?
Yeah, I just caped him and quartered him out there because it's, by myself too. You can do it fast before flies get on it.
Sure.
And then it's cool enough at night where you just let it hang outside and kind of air.
Right.
And then I'll cut it up and then put it in Ziplocs, freeze it, and then stuff it wherever I can.
Well, you said it got down to 32 degrees in one day.
I've actually got a video I was going to put up about how to fly with meat that far. And I just bought a Walmart cooler, an igloo, and then I froze a hoodie, put that in the bottom, threw all the meat on top, and then you tape it in duct tape.
Sure.
And I wrote frozen meat on it with my phone number, in case they wanted to look or whatever. And I don't know, it's like 15 hours of travel. When I got home, everything was still rock hard.
Wow. That's
I've
awesome.
already stuffed meat just in my backpacks though too.
Yeah.
Just to get, it's got to be frozen though. They don't like it if it's not frozen.
Yeah, I can see that, I guess.
I did hear about somebody that brought a smoked brisket on the plane.
Sure.
Onto their
Frozen?
carry. No.
Well, you can bring food. I mean, if you have just a little bit of food, like, yeah, you can bring whatever you want,
It was a whole effing brisket.
Smoked brisket. They're really
Did he
weird.
share with the other passengers?
One would, like if I was sitting next to him, I would make him share. You're not going to bring on a whole freaking brisket and not give me a piece.
Exactly.
Get the Fat back.
But anyways, yeah. Then it's like get home, focus on work, and then in between work in the spring, you can turkey hunt a bit.
Right.
Then it's basically just work up until fall, until you can get a little bit of time off to go hunting.
And like we said before, you fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
And I in some ways, I guess you can afford to do that, or you're afforded to do that by running your own company.
Yeah. I mean, you put in hours to, take a little bit extra time off in the fall. And usually I'm just doing like 4 days, like long weekends anyway, because still got a kid. And thankfully,
responsibilities.
It's super easy with that. Happy ex-wife, happy life. So.
Is that how it goes? Yeah. Happy ex-wife.
I mean,
Drew,
it's true.
can you?
I can attest.
All right.
And it just makes things easier.
Yeah, very understandable.
But my kid's 12 now, and she shot her first deer.
Yeah,
and that was a buck.
That was in October, right?
Yep,
Early
October 5th, on our family farm in Stevens Point, where I shot my first deer ever when I was 12. She was 11 when she shot it, but
nice.
She went and passed her hunter safety course and took the tests and was ready to go hunt. So
yeah,
and I just put I've kind of got a new YouTube channel going called Get Out and Hunt. It's a phrase that I've started saying like 10, 12 years ago. And so I just call it that because I kind of firmly believe that we just need to get out and hunt.
Oh, for sure.
Just, stop worrying about.
That's a nice little buck for a first buck.
So yeah, bigger than mine. I had a spiker. But I know there is a video clip if you wanted to find it, but otherwise you can find it. I just put that hunt on YouTube like 3 days ago.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
And the thing came right next to the blind. I mean, right next to it. And it walked right in front of us. And, Maddie wasn't even standing yet. So I'm just like, don't move. Don't move. Like the deer could hear me whispering.
Yeah.
And thankfully it was, not a mature buck. So he wasn't very smart yet.
Yeah.
But so I kind of had a feeling what he would do would bound, stop, and look back again.
Sure.
And that's exactly what he did. So as soon as he jumped, I'm like, get ready now and safety off. And she was on him. And just by the time he stopped, drilled him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What was her reaction like?
It was good. Yeah. I mean, she was kind of like crying and excited and shaking. It's a pretty good kid reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. What you're actually kind of looking for, what you're always hoping.
Yeah. She was
that they're going to have, like kind of almost uncontrolled emotions in some aspects.
Yeah.
Because it is, I wouldn't say traumatic, but it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, you
for
kill
a
an
kid
animal
and that to
and
kill an
we
animal.
love animals. She's a horse.
Yeah.
Pro.
Right.
So, but we do eat a lot of meat and she does too. So she knows.
She understands it.
And she knows how it goes. Like
she lives in the house. It lives with dad.
These animals are here to
sees all the animals on the walls downstairs and that. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's a different thing when you are that one actually taking that life. I was like 12 at the time too, and
you got to be ready for it.
But you're just so elated though too, and then, that proud moment or reaction you get from the parent as a child, and that their elation for it, I think, is almost equal to the experience because
Well, I'm just thankful that she wants to go do it, and I don't have to like pretend that she likes it or force her to try it.
Right, where she's bored.
The biggest thing you can do, I think, is if you're going to take your kids out hunting, make it easy for them to start and make sure they see at least a deer.
Yeah.
If they go out and it's, crappy, you're walking along, it's cold as shit, and then you don't see anything, like they just, because they're kids, but even if you can just go somewhere where maybe you can't even hunt, take them out and sit, at least see the deer. That'll get them pumped up too.
I think especially nowadays because this generation of kids and that are so overstimulated with so many different things with technology and that and I'm not even talking about like the kids that are constantly glued to their tablets or phones and things like that, but just generally speaking, we live in a very technical world right now. Whereas the time period that we grew up, we had tube TVs and, maybe you had cable. Now I'm kind of dating myself a little bit here, but it was just a little bit different time. Yeah, we had video games, we had Atari, we had Nintendo. And as time goes on, those things progress. But now there's this
Well, it
instant
keeps a lot of kids
gratification.
from getting outside.
Right.
I mean,
100%.
I was just talking to Angela about it, how, man, when we were kids, we'd be running around in the streets and
Feral
home
children.
at dark.
Feral children.
And, you'd have more friends in the neighborhood. And nowadays, I don't even think kids know they're another kid's 4 houses down from
Right,
them.
that you go to school with,
like,
yeah.
You would know everyone on your block.
Oh my God. And the block after that and the block after that, for sure. So yeah, that there's really something to be said about that, because it's instant gratification now. And I think it goes to adults as well, because, my wife and I actually were kind of having a little bit of this discussion just recently, about death scrolling through reels and stuff, and that how that can affect your dopamine levels. Here you go, bud.
All right. What is this
It's
stuff?
my bad shoulder. I can't reach. Old Charter.
Old Charter?
Old Charter. Old Charter Communications.
Oh, Charter.
Yeah. Not sure. If it was Charter, let's not talk about Charter Communications that went on to lose an internet connection on top of this tonight. But yeah, so like I was saying, your death scrolling on social media and that can affect your dopamine levels.
Yeah.
To the point that it becomes an addiction in that. So obviously with kids now, there's also studies out there that show that kids nowadays on their tablets and playing games and that there's problem solving, and that there is actually some positive to it if it's not, because that's the world they're going to live in anyways. Like, they're not going to be going back to the way we grew up. That's just the way it is. It's 2025 and technology is all around us and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So, but I think it's really important, if you get your kids out there early, is key.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's something we don't talk about enough nowadays, is that, you know what? I'm going to save that. I'm going to table that thought for our second half here, because that's going to be something we're going to get into. But back to your daughter shooting the buck. This was her first ever deer?
This was her first deer. We've hunted in the past.
Yeah, because she's got a crossbow.
Yeah, I've had her out. I've never let her shoot one yet, though, because personally, I didn't think she was quite ready. And I remember she was ready last year, because we had a couple does come in, but I took her out and it was November 2nd to a private spot around here. I'm like, we're going to probably see something nice, right? And then right away we get in, and I always kind of just use a blind. I hate hunting out of blinds. I don't do it. It's just kind of my style, but for kids, you make it easy.
Right.
And right away, these two little does come right in front of us. She's like, I need to shoot one. I'm like, no, you can't. And then she's like, I really needed to shoot one. So finally I'm like, all right, well, this worked out really good with the buck.
Yeah.
So,
well, good on you for recognizing that she wasn't quite ready.
Yeah.
To be out there and maybe if the situation was right, or to recognize it in that moment.
Plus, she was ready maybe mentally, but didn't quite have even the strength. I would like to get her shooting a compound, but she's just a tiny thing. Mm-hmm. And if she wants to hunt, it's nice that she can.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Our 6-year-old, he'll be 7 in May, and that we got him a compound for Christmas, and that a youth model. I can't remember which one it was now. He's kind of excited about it, but it's also that time of year where you're really not, getting out there. Yeah. When the weather gets nicer, we'll go out and start shooting it and stuff, and I'll try to teach you how it goes. But I wanted to get this thing going, as early as possible.
People always say it, but you really do need to try to get the youth out there
as early as possible.
Future, man,
Exactly.
Because like you said, nothing's the way it used to be. And
no,
if we don't get our kids into it, could go to hell.
There's not going to be a future of this.
So, I think you really hit on a good point there, right? We just keep, as a society, allowing things to change so drastically without staying true to our roots, right? And I think hunting is one of those things that we can really hone in and keep that next generation true to who we are and where we came from, right?
Yeah.
And where we want to see things go.
Right, exactly. And just
Continue.
keep that tradition going and savor every moment and just make sure that we're doing what we can to get that next generation out there. You know, and support them. And that's what makes it great.
100%.
Yep.
So that was October 4th, right?
October 5th.
October 5th.
Yep. Yeah. Then
What'd you end up doing with it? Did you just do?
Well, I still got to do a boiling night. I got like 4 skulls to boil in my garage right now. So maybe we'll have on a warmer night, have a little cookout and boil some skulls, but
do it.
They're not, it's been so cold that I haven't walked out there like, okay, I better do these. So they're still like frozen.
Oh my God. The temperatures we're at right now. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to probably get that water boiling outside. All right. So what was next after that?
Then we do, I meet my buddies for opening weekend, hunt in like Marquette County. We hunt in the Germania Marsh, and my buddy Brett's got like a couple acres that he hunts, and
yeah, you're not far from us at all.
Yeah, and I love that area. I've hunted there. I shot my first ever archery buck in the marsh, just walking on the ground in there, and
yeah,
it's a lot of land. I mean, I don't think the pressure of bow season there isn't as bad as it gets with gun. I remember one year we hunted in there for gun, and I looked at Brett. I'm like, I'm never again. I mean, you could hear bullets whizzing. Like,
yeah, it's like a war zone.
It's just, and I usually hunt up north anyway. And that one year, for some reason, we were there. It must have been a second weekend hunt or something.
Sounds like back in the 80s in the Mesquite
we
Wildlife
could hear
Refuge.
bullets like hitting the trees, and I'm like, dude, this is messed up. Like, we're not coming here no more.
Yeah,
but it is good bow hunting, and you can get on that McCann River and kayak around. And
is that what you usually use?
Yeah, you can find spots anywhere out there, and I mean the White River Marsh is good too. I probably shouldn't be dropping that, but I'm sure people know. If you're from here, you know.
Yeah, right.
If ever there was a time for the audio to go out.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not not dropping any pins. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
you still got to find
a big area.
You still got to find your ways in.
Yeah, it's hunting in the marsh.
It's nice because it's not too far centrally located. I mean, it's good hunting too. So yeah, and then my buddy shot a buck opening weekend there, and I don't know if it was the day after. I had a trail cam down in the marsh, and it was just on a trail and kept going off. I was actually hunting my buddy's land, private, and I kept getting pictures. I'm like, man, I got to get in there and go in the marsh, and I ended up just wanting to shoot a doe because you always kind of just want to get one. Right away and get the dust off.
Right.
And I was walking in and into the marsh, and she just popped out right in front of me and was in the grass and zipped her. So that was opening.
What were you using? Your compound?
My compound, yeah. I didn't hunt really trad any this year because I haven't been practicing. I just hadn't had the time.
Yeah. You had a busy summer.
It's been a really busy year with work, and I'm constantly behind. You're never going to get ahead, but
he had a very busy summer.
Now with the with the cold, it's like operations kind of halt until we get some weather.
And then you'll be slammed again.
Yep,
trying to catch up.
I got a couple good guys working with me right now, so got to try to keep them going and keep growing. Hopefully, so if you need any decks, fences, or sheds, give me a call.
Yeah, hit up Brad.
Yeah, then
deck.
What's that?
I need a deck.
Oh, I thought you said, wait a second. I ththought you were, oh my God. I was like, because I was like,
we're good.
Yeah.
Trying to keep my composure over here tonight.
I'm thinking about starting up another little small business too. And Angela, she just started up a cleaning company, which I'll drop a line for, Old Maid Custodial Arts. You're looking for a cleaner. She does
Southeast Wisconsin, folks.
Yeah, she does.
I'm looking for a cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah, no joke. Let's talk.
Seriously, I mean, she's great. She focuses more on like detail. So, you know, if you're going to hire some crappy Mary maids to come for, you know, $100, she'll probably be almost twice that, but she'll be there for, you know, longer time and do a lot better work. So
she's not going to start it. Like, she's not going to get like a big cargo van and that. What was it from? You ever see Shameless?
yeah.
The topless maids or whatever it was. What was it called? Do you guys remember what that was? What the name of that was? But I haven't seen that show.
No, I
in so
don't.
long, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yes, I do. And hopefully our viewers out there know the reference as well, because it is very appropriate.
Right. Southside Chicago. That's a Southside Chicago thing, not a Southeast Wisconsin thing.
Oh, I forgot that. I had a North Dakota tag, so I went out there for the first like 5 days, I think, and it was tough. It was hot.
When is that opener?
It's September 1st, so you can get some velvet.
Yeah.
And my buddy Dan and I went out there and we did some paddling into some spots and saw some deer. There was a bachelor group of bucks that I was spotting and just I couldn't get to them. I couldn't find the right phone number because out there some of those properties are just owned by like ranches and you can't even get to the guy that can give you permission.
Sure.
So I gave up on that spot and I drove around and scouted. I found some really cool areas. I went a little farther west and found a killer muley spot, which I didn't have a either or deer tag. It was just a whitetail. Mm-hmm. You got to draw for the muley out there. But I'm just glad I found that spot, and it's just beautiful out there.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get out there. That's on a bucket list. And
yeah.
Actually, they've been talking about it the last couple of years. Jason and I have talked about it. Jason's been out there. South Dakota as well, too,
yeah.
You know.
And, you know, you don't run into anybody either.
Right.
Except a local. I always get into a conversation with a local every time I go.
Oh, that's a good thing.
And they tell you some crazy shit and you learn something. And,
right.
And then if you see them again, they don't give you any shit.
Yeah, that's true. And so, but then I'm just trying to put things into order here. Why don't you tell me what was next after that? Was it Minnesota?
No, it was Wisconsin gun opener.
Wisconsin gun opener. Okay.
Yep. We had we went up for a boat trip for a weekend. Like 6 or 7 of us guys go up there every year. It's kind of a tradition, and we bow hunt it. We always do really well. There's in our area, I don't think we've really had too much wolf damage or like winter kills the past few years. So it's just really pretty highly populated.
Somewhat mild or favorable.
And we're kind of lucky that way to have the Northwoods and still have a good deer herd in the area. But we set up some cameras in October and we had, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, shooter bucks up there. And the one that I had the first October, I did a little mock scrape with that DH3 stuff that Kevin sells from Deer Hunter podcast.
Oh yeah.
And he sent me some of that. I put that on the camera and I was getting pics like crazy off of that.
Really?
It's like a curiosity smell, and it
didn't alert.
It's kind of
any of the mature bucks
for a licking branch. No, I had that mature buck in there like 2 days later.
Sure.
And then that's the one I ended up killing gun season up there. So
right on. What's that, Drew? Is that buck there?
Yeah, that's the one there. He looks a lot smaller in real life than that picture.
Which one you got? I got 3 of them up there.
Yeah, that's all the same deer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got lucky.
No, I mean that's a good buck.
Yeah, for Northwoods. I mean, I've only shot one bigger than him up there.
Yeah,
with the bow.
I'd be happy as hell with that.
Yeah. So it was just the weather. We had the right weather that day where we had some, a little bit of snow flurries and, not a heavy wind. And it's just kind of triggered those deer to get up and feed.
Yeah.
Like
what was the date on that?
That would have been the Sunday of gun season this year. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're right. Yeah.
And the
The
following
weather was good this year. I mean, because it was a little bit later.
Yeah.
In that.
It was, yeah.
It was, I think in Wisconsin, it's as late as it possibly can be for opening weekend.
And hunting up there, like you never really see the rut. It's such a tough, small rut because
the rut was off this year. For sure.
Like I might say we have a heavy deer herd, but I'm hunting like a couple 100-acre piece, and you got like maybe 3 bucks chasing around like 10 does, and how long does it last?
Right.
They rut maybe like 2 days, and you might get a little bit of like a post rut thing, but it's tough to catch it up there. It's not like here where they could be running around for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and is that because of population difference?
Yeah.
Depending upon what area, how many acres you're hunting, if it's public or private, what the buck to doe ratio, obviously that's going to play a big part in it too. Yeah. But yeah, up north there, like
I don't know, or a part of it, I think it's just their survival instinct is so strong where when they're rutting, they almost know that they're vulnerable. And their will to survive up there because everything to them is predator.
Everything, right?
So they're just harder to hunt, and
I mean, they got some big fox squirrels up there that'll take down a deer.
Yeah, porcupines.
Yeah, a lot of porcupines. And then you got a muley this year.
Yeah, that was my Nebraska muzzleloader tag that. I got over the years of scouting out there, I've landed on some pretty good pieces that hold a lot of deer, and there's no pressure or no pressure that I see. And I found a muley spot 2 years in a row that were good for me, and I think I had literally like a 3-day window to go. I drove through the night on a Saturday night. Got there, hunted. I was like out hunting by I think 10:30 the next morning, and I ended up killing that muley at 3:30 that evening. So
on that same day,
no sleep. And then I remember because I pack it out, I quarter it out there because it's a good. See, I take on this spot. I take my bike about 1.5 miles as far as I can. It's kind of. There's no trail.
You got a nice e-bike.
So that at least gets you a little bit, and then it's this piece is 4 miles long, so it's another 2.5 walk type, and you're not dragging a 250-pound muley out of there.
Right.
There's just no way. So I remember getting.
I think we got one. I think we got one picture of it up here.
Yeah, and
that's real nice.
Oh man, I was pumped about it. That was.
Gratefully so.
Shortly before that, I had my scope on a pretty nice muley too. He was a little different though. He wasn't as heavy like that one, or didn't come out, but he just kind of went up and had bigger splits.
Sure.
But that he was 290, and then I ended up only shooting him at 70 yards, just walking the side of a fence line. Because out there it's you don't really even see the sign until you get on maybe a cow path that's beat down, and then you can look in the sand and all right. And I actually remember looking down. I'm like, there's a buck track right there, fresh. And all of a sudden I just another step, and I'm like, there's a buck.
You think it was his track?
Very well could have been. Yeah.
So that was with the muzzleloader.
Yeah.
You also had a little misfortune with the muzzleloader this year.
Yeah. So I was gonna do a little YouTube short on it too, because I definitely don't know everything, but I've learned a lot of mistakes from muzzleload hunting in the past, 15 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I made a big mistake, and I picked up a pack of Federal M primers, 209 muzzleloader primers.
Yeah.
Which are pretty much just garbage. I knew that even from a sighting in. I shot 4 or 5 shots, and 2 of them were a slow burn, it didn't ignite. And the more I read into it, I'm shooting buckhorn powder now.
Okay.
And I just really love how it burns and shoots, and it's cleaner. Well, you really need a hot primer for that, you know.
Sure.
So what you want to buy is the Federal A primers, which is a shot shell 209. It burns a lot hotter. And it just so happened I was on this hunt in Minnesota, and I was on this buck for a few days, and that one morning I was climbing up to him, grunting, scraping up the ground. I could hear him chasing that doe around from the top. I'm like, the only way is to go straight at him. Well, I got halfway up, I just started grunting again, and he came straight at me, coming down the bluff. I mean, maybe not even 20 yards, and I'm down hit on the ground. He doesn't have a clue I'm there. And primer goes off, didn't ignite the powder. And it wasn't my powder. It was I don't know if it was a bad batch of primers or it's just, you know, and didn't go off. The buck still doesn't care. He's looking down. He's trying to find this buck. He looked right at me. He was just rutted up.
Right.
And I'm like, home, and I could have actually had my pistol on and shot him because it would have been a lesser weapon.
Yeah.
I didn't have my pistol, and I'm fumbling around trying to put another primer in. And that by that time the doe busts me and she took off.
Yeah.
It was like 5 seconds. And then he looked back at her and he's like, well, see ya.
Right.
And I'm just like,
I'm going with her.
And then I put that other primer in. I shot it up, and it's just perfect shot with a new primer in it. And like, man,
I think brutal. That's when I was taking care of Boone for you, the dog, and you came back and you told me the story and like,
and
no, actually no, it wasn't that.
Yeah. Cause I wanted to go back. I went back.
You wanted to go back,
weekend.
and that's when like, cause you're like, I got to get back after this. I'm going to get another crack at this buck. And that's when you're like, you know, short notice, like, hey, can you take care of the dog?
For, I think, you know, 3 or 4 days. I think I was home by Sunday. And
you were.
Went back to the same spot. I caught him on camera, and then that next morning I got out super early, and I at first light, these deer are all going to a private egg field, like on this other side of the kitty corner of this public.
Right.
And I heard a solo shot in the morning, and I was just like, oh man, because in the area that I'm hunting on private, like these guys aren't shooting anything.
Yeah.
They're shooting a big buck. And it was right from where he would have been. And I just had a feeling that he was shot that morning. Like, I hunted that night, hunted the next morning, no sights of him. Like, he got shot. So, yeah. So, I mean,
win some, you lose some. That's what's hunting.
Thankfully, had some redemption, you know, on the muley with the muzzleloader. So, that's muzzleloader hunting, man. It's not always perfect. Although I could have my muzzleloader and hunt in snow and rain for a month and it'll still fire. And then all of a sudden I'll have a brand new load in there and you'll get a misfire.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard the stories time and time again. I mean, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
Yeah. But if anyone wants to buy, why not shoot a hotter primer? Just buy the shot shell primers. Don't buy the muzzleloader primers.
Right. And in terms of price, what are we talking?
Couple bucks.
Right. You know. Yeah. I mean, why even chance it? But all in all, I mean, you had a great season. I mean, you just smoked a doe last night, right?
Yep. So, haven't hunted since, I don't know, didn't get a lot of hunting in for like late season.
Yeah.
It's been we've had some jobs going on and trying to get caught up with that and battling the cold. And
I mean, it's been really cold.
Yeah, it's too cold.
I mean, it's been a little bit up and down in that. Hey, we're making good ice.
Yeah. So I had plans to hunt this buck, and I was like, I'm going to hunt on Wednesday. So I know I could hunt Wednesday.
Yeah. And
Monday, the buck dropped his left side. Yeah. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to go get my late season doe hunt in, and ended up shooting one. Yeah, last night, half hour in the woods, you know, doe on the ground. So.
Yeah, we just watched the video before the show here tonight.
Yeah.
You're going to be dropping that tomorrow or something?
I'm not sure exactly, but soon. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's really good.
And where can our viewers check that out?
Well, definitely make sure to go to my YouTube at Get Out and Hunt.
Get Out and Hunt.
Yep, at Get Out and Hunt. you know,
subscribe, hit that notification
no gimmicks,
button.
man. Like, we'll get into that, a little bit of that. And
it is a great video. The production value on this video,
and all of them.
He shot this doe last night, and he's already got it edited, put together, and it is magic.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's pretty fire.
It's you know, like I said, it's you learn over the years of struggle with that kind of stuff. So, but I also love doing it. You know, I'm kind of, I still don't like, I won't call myself a professional photographer, you know, by all means, because I'm not. You know, I do some gigs on the side and that, yeah, but still.
Yeah, but if anybody's seen your stuff, though, I mean, between what you do in terms of the video and your editing, I mean, it's pretty top notch stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, seriously, check out his YouTube page and some of his videos.
I'm just kind of getting the itch to fire it up good and just kind of revamp that page. It's just going to be real shit. I'm never going to.
Well, Luke, our regular producer, checked out your stuff and liked it so much that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing his wedding.
On March 1st.
I do like maybe 4 or 5 weddings a year.
Yeah.
Kind of pays for the hobby too, you know.
Right.
And, you know, something that you can always fall back on. Maybe do a few more here and there, but and at least for him, you know, he's not a fall wedding.
Right.
So that's beautiful.
March 1st. We'll have to see if we can get some of that footage out there. Man, Drew and I will be in our suits and turtlenecks with herringbone necklaces.
This will be a normal wedding, though. The last 2 weddings I filmed were freaking crazy. I did one for like an Arab wedding.
Yeah.
It was like an American. Well, they were I can't remember exactly what country, but it was wild. Like they were up dancing, bouncing, throwing people in the air before dinner even started.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy's like, yeah, he's like, this is gonna happen all night long. And then the last one I did a lesbian wedding, which whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna judge them, but It was fun. It was good. I never get to do a lot of normal ones. I did a normal one last year though.
Well, this one will be pretty normal. I mean, it'll be a lot of Neil Diamond being played.
That's for sure.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Neil Diamond, and there'll be some other shenanigans.
But I enjoy doing it, man. It's like I enjoy photo and video work.
Oh, you're really good at it. So,
and a couple commercials here and there I'll do.
Yeah,
but I'm not advertising for it yet.
Sure. So
maybe in the future when I can't climb
for the right price.
Yeah, always for the right price.
Everything's for sale for the right price. All right. With that said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick intermission, and then we want to get into some other hot topics here. We apologize if you guys have been in and out here. I think we got it figured out now. I don't know what was going on with the audio there before.
Just blame the producer. It's fine.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. Just some dumb luck. And it seems to be every time Brad's here in studio. So I don't know if he sits there and fiddles around with something when we're not looking.
I mean, I told you the problem. You need to have Max running your stuff. You know? You got to get with 2025.
Right. Probably. So stick with us, guys. We'll be back in 5 minutes. And fill your drinks. We'll see you soon.
What is an eponym? A person after whom a discovery, invention, or place is named or thought to be named. There are very few eponyms in the hunting industry. A product so popular and so functional, it becomes the act of the product. So how does something become an eponym? It's the best, hands down.
All right, and welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Seems like we still have sound, hopefully.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming here. This might be the last time, though, because you seem to be an audio jinx. I don't know. I literally, during the break, I got a message from my wife. Why every time with Brad? Why every time? And this will be the third time in a row. But
no, you guys, it must be just something with that. Because your setup is awesome in here. Really good.
Well, we appreciate it. We try. Yeah. We try our best to have the best half-ass show around.
No, I don't know if we try our best.
Well, no. We half-ass the half-ass show. Right. But we appreciate all you guys who are sticking with us here tonight. And if you are tuning in after the fact and watching the show, just go back. This will be kind of broken up into two segments in that. So yeah, we got done talking about this last fall for you, basically last year's hunting season. One of the other things I wanted to talk a little bit about, and you and I kind of chatted briefly the other night a little bit, and that's about like the shift or like kind of a change in the hunting industry lately. And I felt like I've been feeling it for the last couple of years, that it's just not the same as it was. And what is, right?
Yeah.
What is the same, but there's been definitely a shift obviously over the last 20 years. But I would even say from 10 years ago, there's something that just isn't hitting the same. Like, and not necessarily in a good way or a bad way, but there's a change happening in that. And I don't know if it's social media. I don't know if it's in the industry. I don't want to necessarily per se on the fishing side of things so much, but definitely on the hunting side.
Yeah.
I mean, we do our share of fishing in that, but I don't know if I'm connected into it as much. Like, I'd love to go fishing and that, but I don't necessarily follow a lot of fishing shows. I follow stuff on social media and that. And is that the change that we're talking about? Is it because social media is becoming more of the top dog?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think it's like the quote unquote outdoor industry, and not everybody, but they kind of give you like a false reality of real hunting, and people see that and it might screw them up too. But like, it's, a lot of it's just fake. It's not real hunting.
So in terms of
how they set up their show, and
are you talking more along the lines of like the TV shows?
Yeah,
like
more.
If you're like watching
more
like
on a show, on an outdoor channel type vibe.
Yeah,
where it used to be more realistic, and now it's products, and if you don't shoot this bow, you're not cool, and if you don't wear this camo, you're not going to be able to kill your deer. And it's just so much of that now, and it's almost disgusting.
It's funny that you say that, because I would say when you go to the social media side of it,
well, what that does is it creates these groups of people that bash each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with all of it, with the whole, brands this and brands that,
and false expectations too, of like what's real and what's not real.
And there's a lot of guys out there that have the opportunity to hunt bigger deer, And you can always make that opportunity too, depending on how much you want it. But there's probably 75% of other hunters that just want to go out and hunt. And they love just doing it. It doesn't matter if they shoot, a shooter buck.
And well, it might be a shooter buck in their eyes.
Right. And then they're going on, and you go on all these forums, and it's just bashing.
If you look at the bucks that are hanging around here, these are all bucks that I've shot in that. And in my eyes, those were shooter bucks.
Yeah.
And
how many times you see someone saying, "Oh yeah, he would have been, a good one next year." It's like, well, he's not, because I killed him.
Yeah, he's not going to be any better because he's done.
And to expand on that a little bit,
And then people get pissed, like, well, no, I'm not going to shoot a big buck because you didn't pass him. Or it's like, dude.
Well, I think
you guys, they have no idea.
Right, and I think it, you go back before social media, right? And you go to the registration station. No one is going to call you out there.
No, heck
face to face.
No way.
You get behind a computer screen and you get behind your keyboard, and now people have this empowerment, like, oh, I'm just going to be a troll and I'm just going to bash all these people that shoot, quote unquote, a deer that should still be walking. I mean, it's complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah. And I like to hunt bigger deer, and
that's your preference.
I like to hunt different ways, but people got to stop, the bashing, and that's why with my new channel, I just want to focus on getting out and hunting.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Boy, we spit a lot of stuff out there in the course of like 2 minutes there, and I'm like, my brain's trying to process this all here already. Let's go back to the TV shows and that. Now, we all know like TV shows are what they are, right? It's all about it's about money, it's about sponsors, it's partners and things like that. That's what pays the bills. And I feel like probably over the last 10 years, it's really kind of amplified that. I don't particularly watch a lot of TV hunting shows.
No, I don't
anymore.
I just don't anymore at all.
And if I do, I don't mind them.
There are some good shows out there.
I watch it for what it is, and I realize what it is. And I'm not trying to make accusations that like, well, they say it wasn't a high fence or whatever, but in my mind, no, I don't even get into any of that kind of stuff. Like, I just take it for what it is, as entertainment. I'm watching somebody kill a buck and it's cool. I enjoy more shows where you get more behind the scenes, back at camps, whether it be at an outfit or whatever it is. I was able, this year, I went down to Bigger Buck Outfitters in Illinois with Travis Biggers, and went down there with Jason from the team and our other friend Billy. We had a great time, got to connect with guys from other places in the country.
Yeah.
And nothing was high fence there. It was just different properties, different farms that he has, whether he owns some of it or he has leases with farmers and things like that. We went for the opener of Illinois. So it was for like 5 or 6 days from October 1st to the 6th. And that, and we were up against it with hot weather in the 80s and stuff. Great time. Love to get back down there again. It's a cool experience. And a lot of these TV show hunters, that's where they're going. They're going to outfitters in that. Are some of them going to high fence type stuff in that? I don't know. Usually what I always kind of remember from watching shows is at the end is that they would like kind of caption the outfitter and how to contact them in that. So if you wanted to really find out for sure what this place was about, like, book your hunt at blah, blah, blah outfitter and that. Well, now you can either call, and as time went on, then there was websites and stuff you could look up on the website and actually find out, A, how much it costs to do this, and B, is this for all free range or high fence? And I would say over 90% of it is free range, but they might own thousands of acres.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thousands. I mean, I think with Travis and that, I think he's got 8,000 acres. Now it's not all connected together, but 8,000 acres that, and don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And you guys could look it up or whatever, but, you know, it was different farms and things like that. But when it comes to the TV shows, like when you really go back, or when VHS tapes came out, like when Mark and Terry Drury did their stuff, and then the VHS, and they would shoot bucks that by today's standard, you know,
right,
of what a TV show or a DVD or anything like that would put out. Like these were, I mean, they shot some nice bucks, but they just wanted to shoot deer, and they were filming it and kind of just showing the process of what they were doing. And there wasn't a bunch of high production value.
Those old school hunts are awesome.
I love them. I mean, to me, I still have some of those VHS. I'd literally have, well, I take it back. When we cleared out the basement this year and that to remodel the whole thing, I was hanging on to a TV VCR combo, one of these old ones, solely for that reason, because I had these old whitetail hunting. I had the Way of the Whitetail.
That's awesome.
And that on VHS, because I liked watching it. Even though it didn't teach me anything anymore, it just was nostalgic to watch some of the stuff. And I had some of the old Mark and Terry VHS stuff that they had put out back in the 80s. And there was just something so pure about that. And I get it, times change, right? We evolve, and the industry has kind of somewhat gotten out of control to an extent.
Well, it almost, you know, it makes you want to believe that if you go hunt, you have to go and successfully kill, you know, a big animal.
Right. And define big.
And, you know, you don't.
Does it have to be a booner?
You don't have to do that. You can just do a little research and go check out a new, you know, public spot somewhere, right, and enjoy it. The enjoyment isn't just shooting a big animal. You know, it's everything that comes along with that.
But what would you say, because I remember, it's 2025 now. Let's go back 15, 20 years, okay? Trade shows. Let's look at that era. And there weren't as many as there are now by any means, and there wasn't the vendors and stuff. But just look at how that has changed. Like we kind of really ramped up things, I would say, from like 2015, the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Things really kind of ramped up, like really big. And now things are kind of sort of tapering off.
Right, I think so too.
In terms of like technology and what's new.
Yeah. Well,
there were some innovative things that were coming out. Mobile hunting became a big thing. Public hunting has become a really big thing again, which is a really positive thing for our industry, because let's be frank about it.
And I like to see that.
There's not as much land available to hunt in terms of private, and that it's the days of knocking on doors. It's still there, but it's not what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, just to get straight up permission to hunt.
Yeah. It's
definitely a lot of places, especially
easy.
In states like Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois, you know, things like that. Yeah. Maybe you go to out west and that, but even you touched on that earlier when you were in North Dakota, like who can I even contact?
Yeah. It can be
for
tough.
These expansive pieces of property. So things have changed. If we think back to, let's say, year 2000, right? And if you were told in the year 2000 that by 2020 we're going to have, and actually sooner than that, quite honestly, we're going to have these phones
right,
that are going to pull up with the maps and and show wind direction and, you know, who owns property, you know, on X.
If I didn't have, honestly,
like
yeah, my mapping is probably the only reason why I even get in these.
Well, what would you have thought?
I mean, you'd have to be, reading the old plat books a lot better and downloading maps online.
But you didn't imagine.
But now
where we're at right now,
and now it's like now I can save my areas and just get there, and you really we got it easy now. The guys that were killers 20 years ago were a hell of a lot better hunters than we are now.
I mean, what would you have said though at that time? Would you have said like, that's a bridge too far? Like that's too much of an advantage that you can literally look at an aerial map on your phone instantly? Or let's take cell cameras, for example. At that time, would you let's say it's 1999. And you're like, in 20 years from now, you're going to be able to pick up your phone and get pictures sent to you from a camera. What would you think?
Oh, I didn't.
At that time, would you have thought like, that's too much?
Because we didn't even have. That's not. I mean, we had the Nokias in 2020,
right?
Like it was just texting was just kind of starting to be a thing,
right? Blackberries.
Yep.
I think.
So
right, Blackberries 2000.
Yeah, it was absolutely in that era. Yeah, you nailed it. Although I do believe the term for them now is crackberry. But
bricks.
I'm not sure about that.
But you would have thought, like, what would your mindset have been at that time and said, like, this is where hunting is going to be in 20 years from now? Would you have thought, like, that's crazy, like, that's too much of an advantage?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
the technology kind of comes at us, it trickles into us, so we're used to everything as it comes.
Yeah,
and it's like, you can.
It's slowly spoon fed to you.
Who knows what's going to be the next thing?
Right. Rangefinders. Look at the advancement in rangefinders. Yeah. And I would be curious to know when the first rangefinders came out for archery hunting. I mean, I know there was rangefinders, and
there's still a few states you can't even use rangefinders.
Is that a fact?
I think North Dakota is one of them.
Really?
You can't use a rangefinding device or any electric device. But they did pass some laws where guys can use expandables now if they want.
Sure. Well, I mean, now,
or even lighted knocks. I think there's a few states.
Some states are taking away like cell cams. Yep. And that, like on public land lease, I know Kansas is one of them.
I think Missouri is too. Missouri definitely is public, or you can't leave them on a public.
Right.
Lease, yeah.
At what point is technology too much? Well, let's talk about crossbows, for example.
Yeah.
Now, I'm forced to use one and my opinions have changed vastly about crossbows since I've had to use one. For one, I find it cumbersome and a little more difficult. If I was hunting out of a box blind all the time or in ladder stands with a shooting rail, sure. But you try saddle hunting with a crossbow.
Yeah.
Just a hang on, lock on stand, with a crossbow. But with that said, technology, at what point do things get too far?
I don't know how much farther they can get.
Well, it's a question. And is that why we're seeing?
But wait, there's more, right? I mean, it's just going to be the next hot thing. And what is it?
Well, there was they came out with the Garmin sights.
Yeah, the Garmin Zero or whatever.
Right. Where it's the built-in rangefinder. You're not even having to take the time to pull a rangefinder.
Moves you hit a button and on the dot and the pin moves digitally to the.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Like, come on. You can't tell me that's not, like, again, 20 years ago. Like, this is going to be a thing.
Yeah. That's why I like to just all of a sudden take it down and go hunt with my longbow.
Well, that was going to be my next thing. And there you go.
So kind of just.
You're taking it back.
Yeah.
Back to the old school. Maybe because you're an old fool.
Maybe.
So cool. If you want to get down, let me show you the way. That's a reference not many people will get, but
well, yeah, I mean, it depends on how old our viewership is.
right. I mean, what are your thoughts on just like the shifts that we're experiencing right now?
I think there's a shift because of, the internet television. So there's a lot of guys out there and that's like, well, if you're good, you're gonna, you'll get your views and maybe make some money on it.
Right.
And
there's some really good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Really good.
And which I really like, I like that transition because it's more realistic. You're getting guys like me that are just like, they just want to go hunt. They're not trying to sell you anything. It's better to watch than television. Right. And I think a lot of people that are, in that outdoor industry are kind of butthurt on that too.
Because guys like you are getting really good at editing, like filming your stuff and editing it, and
competition to them because maybe in a way they know they're just kind of fake.
Yeah, and you're not, when I watch one of your videos, it's not a bunch of advertisements. Yeah. You're not sitting there like taking a break.
You got if you're trying to do it full time, whatever you need to get your sponsors and get your money and your advertisements, but
if you keep doing it though, right? Let's say you keep doing this,
but it just seems like it's a lot.
You start getting approached.
It's like a constant advertisement,
right?
You're watching a commercial for a half hour of
20 minutes, and then 10 minutes of hunting, right?
Yeah, it's almost to that point between the actual commercials and then within the show, they're doing their own ads.
And these, and by all means, I know some people that are in the industry and they're great people, but
same.
These are, a lot of these products, man. It's like the average guy can't afford half of this shit anyway.
Right. Just on one show alone, the amount of products that they're promoting would cost you, several $1,000s just on one episode. Just the products that they are promoting, whether it be this gun and then these optics and this, these cell cameras and things like that, like it gets out of control. I mean, when I started bow hunting, I was wearing Walmart camo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you don't even, camo.
Well, now we get into a whole nother thing too. Like the TV shows are promoting the camo, the YouTubers, the social media hunters, and that, like yourself, everybody's just going back to jeans and flannels and Carhartts and
I mean, I don't think it's really about a camo pattern, to be honest. There's scientific, things done about the deer's vision, and some of it might be true, but like Fred Bear says, you just need to learn how to sit still,
right? Not be moving around,
not be seen. Like, but I mean, when it comes to camo, I buy my stuff for pure like fit and comfort.
Comfort, right?
Like, if it's comfortable and it's
going to keep you warm,
keeps you warm, I don't really care what it looks like.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, how many shows have you watched where they've pimped this broadhead or whatever the case may be, this product, right? This one's the best, and then boom, 3 years later, now we're into this.
It's whoever's cutting the biggest check.
Exactly.
You're hopping around, and
how can you even have any sort of integrity at that point where all it is who's going to bring the biggest bag to the table?
Trust me, I've talked to guys that have had sponsorships with certain broadhead companies and they get the shot of the arrow, that kind of shot of the knocked arrow and that with the broadhead. But when it comes time to kill, they're not even using that broadhead because they don't even believe in it. Yeah. I mean, I've heard that multiple times.
And, like I said, I know these guys, they make their money off of sponsors, but there's got to be less of it and more back to real hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see, and you know what? People go to outfitters all the time, and, so they're guaranteed more of a kill, I guess you could say, and they might want that for the show, but I want to see more real hunting, man,
There's definitely a shift in that direction for sure.
And there's definitely some guys that still do that, and I'll give them shout outs and follow them. But
absolutely. I mean, I think Dan Infalt is really, he's one for sure that's really kind of cemented himself in that DIY, go out, do it the old school way, in all aspects of the way he hunts. And he's far from the only one. And then you got guys like, the hunting public, and they've completely blown up too. And then there's a percentage of guys out there that are butthurt, have chapped asses about them because they're kind of blowing up spots, and they're not, I guess not blowing up spots isn't the right way to say it. They are,
well,
have created a new drive for public land hunting.
There's people though that, yeah, those are the people that get mad if there's someone in the parking lot
right
before you get there.
Yeah, and
it's like, dude, who cares?
There's a lot of public
or
land.
You run into a guy, or I hear the stories about it when you run into someone and you shoot something, and it was like, oh, well, we've been here forever, and it's like, okay,
that's always been the case. So when
if you're mad, someone shoots a deer out of there, or it's just ridiculous. These people got to start just getting back to the roots of hunting and why we do it.
Right. Do you do your fair share of public land hunting in various states in that? Maybe not so much like when we're talking about North Dakota or anything like that you're really running into other hunters and stuff. But do you see that at all? Like there's an increase number of public land hunters. Are you noticing anything?
To be honest, I really haven't. No. I'm good at getting away from people though. I don't know if that is anything, but
I think that's the
I
trick,
haven't really
isn't it?
seen I haven't had an increase of people. I mean, but if you go somewhere for an opening weekend of a gun hunt in an area that's got a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you don't want it, you just keep driving.
Right.
Find another spot. But it sucks to see all the negativity between products and how you hunt. And we really need to just come together and be happy that we're all hunters.
Do you feel like we should be spending more time, those of us on social media, and I think I'm guilty of this in that too, some aspects that we don't promote the conservation side of hunting as much as we should. We tell a lot of stories and stuff like that, and this show is what it is. But in the industry as a whole, should we be spending more time talking about conservation? Should we be spending more time talking about legislation and who we're voting into office to better the future for conservation and for hunting?
Yeah, you definitely should probably.
Maybe sometimes take a break from the entertainment value and provide some information.
Yeah, provide more knowledge,
because at the end of the day, what are we as hunters, if nothing else? We're conservationists. And that falls on deaf ears when you're talking about the anti-hunting side of things, right?
Right.
And they get legislation involved all the time. That's their biggest thing. They spend big money to influence legislators to stop hunting in a lot of ways. And I think we fight so much internally as a group of hunters. We fight so much internally with ourselves because of, this person uses this weapon, this person uses that, or this person hunts over bait, or this, public, private, food plots, all these things. We sit there and spend way too much time on this when the real fight should be against the anti-hunters.
Right. That's 100% true. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like
they sit back and watch us argue amongst ourselves about petty stuff.
I've looked at things and looked at people before, and I've probably judged them and for something like that, but it's because we're human, you know. But at the end of the day, we really should try to not do that as much.
Right.
Well, and I think that we've become such great advocates for hunting in of itself, right? I mean, we're the first to tell anybody that we're a hunter. We enjoy hunting. We love hunting. You should go
Love the
hunt.
outdoors.
Right. Yeah. All of that kind of stuff. But when it really matters and where it really counts, that's where we're falling short. And that's, to your point, nobody can see me pointing at my brother.
He's pointing at me.
But to Scott's point, I think we really need to look harder at ourselves in terms of bringing that to the people that make the decisions, right? If we want this to be what we all want it to be, or what a good majority of us want it to be, then we need to start taking it to them. I mean, that's the only way that things get done is by action. It's not going to be heard through voices, sure as hell not through some half-ass show, or anything that you're doing at this point, right? Talk to your local legislature and let's, bring to them what's important to you. And I think in that case, it's conservation, right? It's everything that you just talked about. How do we get it to the next level?
Right, because if we don't, this thing goes away at some point. And I mean, they're fighting to end this lifestyle of ours.
Yeah, I think it'll be a tough fight, but it could happen. You never know.
But I think so often generally speaking, we'll sit back and say, well, somebody else smarter than us or more informed is going to take it.
Well, that's what you like.
Fight.
You like to think that's happening.
Your Ted Nugents of the world, right?
Yeah.
They're the faces, the NRA, things like that.
But we need more people to do it.
We do. We need to stop the inner fighting about, this and that. And I mean, remember, you don't see it as much anymore, but there was a good 5-year period there with just fighting over like broadheads.
Yeah.
Expandables versus fixed blade. Like, the energy you're putting your energy out there on that. Like you woke up today and be like, I'm gonna argue about broadheads. Like, what a stupid thing. What a stupid thing to argue about. Like, let's focus.
I mean, you can talk about it but it's hard. All of a sudden then it'll get someone will go to be too far,
right?
Because and that's how you start the bashing.
Yeah.
Stuff. And that's the whole keyboard warrior.
I think it's more important that we just focus our energy.
But it is good to have those conversations though, because there's, maybe people that have had the experience with certain things.
Sure.
And broadheads per se. And they've tried so many different ones and they're like, hey, listen.
Room for all.
I mean,
Yeah. Room for all. And, like there's nothing wrong with debating certain things within it, but like when people spend too much time, and there's some individuals out there, and I'd really like to drop a name, and I'm not going to do it or whatever, but there's a guy out there in that's so that like it is his life's mission as a bow hunter to just, instead of focusing on bow hunting, he focuses on being anti-crossbow so hard that it's absolutely sickening, and disappointing, to be quite frank. And I'm not going to drop the name, but people within Wisconsin area, I think, if you're in the Wisconsin bow hunting scene, in that you probably know who I'm talking about, and I don't really care if the name gets dropped, because I don't have no respect for this person whatsoever, because I think he's doing a disservice to hunting as a whole.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day,
I mean,
we need to focus our attentions on the betterment. First off, as conservationists, right? Shouldn't it be about the animals first and foremost? Because anti-hunters think we have no respect,
right,
for any of the animals that we hunt. They just think we're bloodthirsty killers. Right. And that is the furthest thing we love. I mean, I walk around, you know me, I walk every night from 9 until midnight in that. And I encounter deer in that. And there's a mom and her 2 fawns for this entire year, to the point that, I mean, they're city deer.
Yeah.
And that they'll just stand there, and I can get from me to Drew away, and that I just talk to them nicely. I'm like, don't worry, mama, you and your babies, you're fine. I'm just walking by,
Which
nice
for
to see you guys again
reference is
tonight.
About 10 feet.
Right. I don't want to kill that deer.
Well, and deer are only here because of us.
Right.
They were almost
That too.
gone.
Exactly. Thank you, Teddy
There
Roosevelt.
was hardly any deer in Wisconsin, and because of conservation, they're back. And same
They're
with
back.
turkeys, man. Turkeys
So
were
many.
like
There's so
turkeys
many
were like
animals.
nowhere.
The elk. There's so many different things that conservation has saved. Yeah, you're 100% right. We're not bloodthirsty killers. We're hunters. We eat them, but we're not trying to eradicate them. Right. We're not trying to kill I've had it in the past where early days of Facebook and that.
It's like the anti-hunters, they want them all dead, it seems.
Almost.
They don't want I just listened to Waddell's podcast, and he was talking about it on Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Waddell, he was talking about how
that was a good podcast.
The rich, type anti-hunter type person. It's like, oh, we don't want these deer eating our $5,000 worth of rose bushes, and hey, can you come kill them? It's like, well, those are the anti-hunters right there.
Right. Yeah, the same people. The exact same people. It doesn't. Yeah, right. Because they're vegan. They don't want to do the hard work. They just.
Yeah.
But they want their rose and their
you gotta hope that
kale.
there's just good good voices continue for.
And how many rabbits were killed planting
And those
and
rabbit
shrews,
right.
and so many
grubs.
Rabbit tournaments get anti-hunters going crazy.
Which is crazy. I mean, in my yard alone, I have multiple nests a year. I mean, people don't realize they don't have one litter a year.
No.
Multiple throughout the summer. And I'm constantly having to check my lawn and that so I don't mow over a nest of baby rabbits in my yard. It's ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, what's the old saying? No, we won't get into that.
Yeah, we
have like rabbits.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think what's really important is we spend less time interfighting and fighting the real enemy, and that is the anti-hunting industry.
Yeah, very true.
Or gun rights.
Gun rights,
and
and PETA. I mean, and there's so many out there that you guys don't even that a lot of people don't realize. Humane Society of America and that. Oh, what do you mean? That's about, helping cats and dogs and that. No, it's not. That's that's just another name.
And that's why it's important to share. I'm going to try to share, the real side to hunting as much as I can, and how we eat the animal. A lot of people don't even probably get it.
Right.
Dude, man, I live off of venison.
Tim Wells,
I
last week or something like that, or week before, at a he made a big freaking coyote stew. And posted
gross,
it. So yeah, that's a little gross, but hey,
I don't need to eat coyote.
But you know what I mean? At least there's people that love raccoon.
Yeah. But I mean, I am a big if I kill it, I want to eat it. Other than a varmint, if there's I'd like to kill coyotes. I mean, who doesn't?
Right.
But I'm not eating coyotes.
No, I'm good on you, Tim Wells, but more for you. I'm
got some views on that, I bet.
I'm going to pass on that. I got enough parasites, I'm sure, in my body. I don't need any more.
Yeah. Which brings me to my topic of I'm going to do that 30-day wild game dinner.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
So different wild game dinner for 30 days straight, and I'll do every night. I'm gonna do a YouTube short of what the meal is.
All right.
And see if that catches on to get like, I don't know.
Hashtag 30 day.
30 day.
Hashtag 30 day wild game.
Yeah, 30 day wild game.
All right.
And
maybe, I want to come over.
Maybe
I'll
have you over. I'll have you over one night.
One night for 30 days. I live 2 blocks away. Can I come over like twice?
Yeah,
I live 5 blocks away.
Here, listen, probably gonna go ice fish, so we can do a fish fry right away.
Going ice fishing on Saturday.
I mean, dude, I love wild game, so this will be easy.
Start out with some crappies.
Oh, dude,
some perch.
Just fry them first, and a few days later, do some steak and some ground or something, and then go back to fish and do like some fish tacos.
Yeah,
and kind of keep rotating. And I got some turkey breasts in the freezer still. From spring.
Yeah. Let's do some deep fried turkey nuggets.
Yeah, go down.
So hungry.
Go down to port and catch a brown trout in like an hour, probably in the harbor right now, and do something with that.
All right, let's go.
Damn it, I'm hungry.
But
deep fried turkey nuggets sound good
like
right
that,
now.
and I have always tried to share my, like, dude, I love wild game, so that's one of the main reasons why I hunt a lot.
It's delicious.
So I mean, every now and then I'll buy a T-bone from Sundix or something, but
beef's good too.
I can't even tell you the last time I went to the store to buy ground beef.
Yeah,
I mean, years.
I can tell you because I'm not a very good hunter, but I do have a freezer full right now, and what's great about it is my wife, right? So like she's she doesn't buy any ground beef until the venison runs out, nice. And she will put it in everything. She loves it. She always tells me, before I go deer hunting, like, oh, do I need to clear out the freezer? I'm like, well, honey, I'm not that good. Maybe just wait, and I'll text you as soon as I get a deer. But yeah, I mean, it really is.
Dude, I mean, I made that inner loin this morning.
Delicious.
I fried like 4 pieces of bacon, and then I put the inner loin in the bacon grease.
Yeah.
Stop it. You're killing me right now.
That'll be at the end of the video that's coming up. Little snippet of it.
Right. Yeah. We got. I
always try at the end of the video to show like, hey, we're living off of this.
Field the table.
Right. I believe in that tradition.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And not to be a horrible person, but think about how many people that you didn't tell the sausage that you were giving them or whatever it was venison. People that damn well don't like venison or quote unquote.
Well, dude, I take pride in if there's someone at a party that says they don't like venison, like they're gonna have something that I'm making and they're gonna be like, damn,
this is really good.
Well, and for me,
quite
frankly, like if I'm bringing chili or something like that, it's me, you might as well just assume. Like,
right.
I don't need to tell you. Like, do I have to ask you if you like beef? Do I have to ask you if you like chorizo?
So,
or anything? Like, no,
Red meat.
like just if it's coming from me.
Do you guys dabble in like slow cooking any of the roasts much?
Yeah, I have.
Because I'm telling you, man, dude, you can make some slow cook roasts. I mean, even out of like a front shoulder, roast, and that shit will fall apart, and you'll never know it's venison in a slow cooker, man.
Have you ever had canned venison?
I've had some. I've never done it.
It's amazing.
Oh, it's good.
Oh my!
I haven't done it either, but it is really good.
Stupid good.
Yeah, Dave Russell used to do it all the time. It probably still does, but yeah, delicious. Like just heat. I mean, it's so tender, and it makes its own gravy in the jar. You put that over some egg noodles or some mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes, baby.
A little salt and pepper. Boom. I mean, it's like, and you salt and pepper that beforehand, anyways.
Right.
But
so good.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Wild game is delicious, but I think we're kind of wrapping it up here. I think it was a good talk. Brad, I'm really glad that you were able to come back in the studio and completely muck up the show, as you always do in terms of the sound.
Record audio.
It's all right. Thanks for having me, man. And good neighbor to have,
Right? Got a dog babysitter,
Except,
right?
Yeah, we got to try to have a couple nights, Well, I know it's winter, so like you had a couple bonfire nights, and that was fun because I could just,
Hop over, have some
hop, skip, and a jump, and
right. Even take the e-bike over.
yeah.
If you're on the sidewalk, is it really drunk driving? Drunk riding?
They got other problems in West Bend than some guy on a bike.
Right. But yeah, I know. And you and I have some plans to get out and do some ice fishing yet this winter.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good ice up here. It's been making ice right now, we're making more ice.
Yeah, it's
as
crazy.
we speak. Like, it's been cold. It's been good, though. We don't have a ton of snow, which is good. Unless you're a snowmobiler, I feel bad for you. But the UP's got a ton of it, so head on
in a
up
few
there.
weeks, we're going to head up north and do some hardcore ice fishing for 2 days.
Nice.
Really stock up the freezer.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. But usually if I fish around here, like randomly I'll usually just catch what I eat for that night or something.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm heading out Saturday. I'm with Jesse from the team and Jason Schrader from the team. So looking forward to getting out there and catching some crappies and a few walleye.
Yeah. Are you catching crappies mostly on a tip down style rig, or are you jigging for them?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I love jigging for crappies if you can find them.
Right.
And
that's the thing. It's you're sitting there just waiting for that school.
Yeah. There's a spot I got up north that it's like, no matter what, you're catching your limit of black crappies.
Yeah.
And it's super fun.
And they're so good eating.
They are. I know some guys that'll say, crappies. I eat bluegills. It's like, oh man, I don't know if you can really tell the difference too much.
No, I mean, I think you just get a bigger fillet out of the crappies. I mean, bluegill's good too.
That's my preferred.
You get some nice slabs.
Yep. Perch and bluegill, dude, or crappie, any kind of panfish. That's what I'm going after.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just not a good walleye fisherman, so that's why I fish for panfish.
I'm not great, but so I think on Saturday we're gonna start the morning out jigging and stuff, and then I think we're gonna jump to another lake nearby in the evening and do some tip up fishing and ice drinking.
Yeah,
get those bush lattes flowing and that. So it's always a good time out on the ice for sure. It's just fun hanging out with your buddies.
I know.
And that, even if you're by yourself, it's a good time. You get one buddy, you get two buddies, you get three buddies, you get a group of guys. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, it does.
We got our team ice fishing trip coming up.
It's easy
Valentine's weekend.
It's easy to not fish when you're out fishing with more people.
Oh yeah,
it turns.
It's just like let's
fishing.
set up more tip ups.
Yeah. At what point are you like, all right, well, we might as well just be up by the bar or campfire or something,
right? Well, it always transitions into
about 9 o'clock.
Yeah. It transitions into that at some point, but it's a fun time. I love. I don't take it overly serious.
Well, it's because it only happens like once a year. Now, if you get a group of guys on the ice and it's a good time,
right?
Once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah, exactly. So, at our age now, to get the group together,
yep,
it's a little bit tougher. So, but looking forward to that mid-February and going out with a good group of guys this weekend too. So, but all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We apologize for the sound issues. Really don't know what's going on with that, but thanks for sticking with us. And Brad, thanks again for joining us tonight.
Dude. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please go check out my new YouTube channel. Get out and hunt.
Get out and hunt.
And I'll promise to keep some good content coming.
Yeah, guys, definitely check it out. I mean, his videos and his editing is very top notch. You're going to be very impressed. I'm always blown away with what you're putting out there. So
stupid good.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. So, Drew, thanks for sticking it out with us here tonight. I know you're not feeling the best here.
I'm feeling a lot better now because you mix cold meds with some good old
He
brown
sounds like a brand
liquor.
new man over there.
brown
He sounds brand new.
Doesn't he? His voice sounds a lot better.
I feel amazing. It's starting to feel like I'm not going to
You
work
will
tomorrow.
not be feeling that good in the morning.
Yamahama.
Feels like you might be going ice fishing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time.
Always outdoors.